Parents should be furious. What just happened inside a public school wasn't accidental, and it wasn't harmless. Today we expose how ideology is quietly being introduced to students and why this moment demands attention, not silence. So stay with us, because this isn't just about one school, it's about the direction of the country. Welcome to the Endtime Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, we need your help. Make sure you hit the share button right now. Help get the word out. It'll go a long way. Also, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a heart, and make sure you engage in the chat. Not just one or two words. Tell us where you're from. Give us a sentence or two. Tell us your life story. Doug, that'd be a good idea, right? Sure. Doug's dying to hear your life story, so let us know in the chat.
I need to hear it,
yeah. So put that in there. Make sure you're engaging. Share right now. Help us out in that way. It is February 5th to be exact, and while a lot of people are focused on spending, it's that time of year when your spouse is saying there's a special holiday coming. Now, some of us don't celebrate that holiday, Doug, but we don't need to get into that today. But nonetheless, some people are focused on spending, and some of us are thinking about how to protect what actually matters. And with inflation still hitting hard and metals down after the Fed's leadership change, now may be a smart time to move. That's why we've partnered with True Gold Republic. They're a company that shares our values and helps everyday Americans secure real gold and silver at the guaranteed lowest price anywhere. There's no gimmicks, no paper promises, just real physical assets shipped free and fully insured right to your front door. And you can even roll over your IRA or 401k into gold, and there's no minimum investment required. Some of those other companies require a pretty hefty minimum, not true Gold Republic. If you're serious about protecting what God's blessed you with, this is a smart place to start. So go to endtimegold.com or call 800-628-GOLD. That's endtimegold.com or 800-628-GOLD and ask about the Endtime Show special. All right, Doug, we've got a lot to cover today. Of course, the feature for, at least from my perspective, there's several features that we're going to highlight today, but the feature based off of the title of the show is Parents Should Be Furious About This. And we're going to highlight something that happened just a few miles from here, another one of those instances where there's certain ideologies that are being forced upon people in our local area here in the Dallas, Texas area. But before we get into that, the great harlot, Doug.
Yeah.
We're going to highlight something there that I think is critical, because I just saw recently, maybe I should pull it up and read it, but I just saw a local pastor here in the Dallas area say that he commended the Pope for his stance on marriage, I think it was, or something like that. I'll have to look that up while you talk. But we're going to highlight something that that the new Pope has said that they're going to continue an agenda.
Yeah, and I mean, the interesting thing is this is from Father James Martin, who apparently he's kind of a big, I guess, priest within, I think he was a bishop, within the Catholic Church here in the United States. He's a American priest here. And apparently he rubs elbows with some of the rich and famous and some of the stars and things like that. He has a podcast, I believe. But anyway, he met with the newly elected Pope Leo, and they had a conversation about the LGBT community and how the church is viewing the LGBT community. So it's interesting. I'm not going to read a lot of this because we've got a pretty big issue here in our own backyard that we want to bring to your attention today. But I do want to show a clip, Vince. We've got a clip from LifeSite News. Remember, LifeSite News is a Catholic organization, and they're exposing this. And so this clergy member went on Stephen Colbert, who you guys probably are well familiar with him, especially those of you who I know kind of dip your toes in the waters of conspiracy. There's a lot of conspiracy around Stephen Colbert, so I just kind of like to give you all a wink and a nod every time that we come up with one of these things, so that you know that we know, but we're not going to go in that direction today. But I do want to show you their conversation. What did you find?
Well, it was just the post was talking about thanking the Catholic Church for reaffirming a solid biblical stance about that a marriage union is between one man and one woman. Huh.
Well, that'll be interesting, especially after you see this clip.
Yeah,
so
this was a local pastor.
This was a local
you know.
person.
Should I show you right here live on there?
Somebody I know?
Yeah. You don't have to read their name out
loud.
loud.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Wow. Okay, well, there you go. Let's watch this clip because I don't think that's the stance.
Hello, my friends. There is breaking news in the United States, but it's about the Vatican. We have just learned, thanks to James Martin, S.J., the famous LGBT promoting Jesuit, that it was Pope Leo who desired that his pro-LGBT stance get broadcast all over the world. The news comes from a appearance on the Colbert Nation show that James Martin, S.J. just did, hosted by Stephen Colbert. They asked about the September meeting that James Martin had with Pope Leo XIV, and that's where Martin made this revelation. Watch.
Initially, we talked about ministry to LGBTQ Catholics, which is part of my work.
I know Francis, the previous pope, had been open to expanding that ministry. What's the word on what Pope Leo has to say?
Yeah, the message I got from him was that he's continuing Pope Francis's mission and message of welcome and inclusion, and he wanted that to be broadcast.
Of course, to much of the world, that won't be shocking because, of course, the Pope is LGBT friendly, as was Pope Francis. The church all changed back then. But for a lot of Catholics, that's going to come as shocking news. Not so shocking to those readers and viewers of LifeSite News and Sign of the Cross Media, however, because they know that not only did Pope Leo meet with James Martin, he also allowed that massive LGBT pilgrimage into St. Peter's Basilica as well. LifeSite readers also know James Martin to be the #1 promoting LGBT priest, if you will, in the Catholic Church. He's the guy who does the homosexual blessings with the 2 homosexual men holding hands. He's the guy who encourages couples, homosexual couples in churches, to kiss one another.
So I do hope in 10 years you'll be able to kiss your partner or, soon to be your husband. Why not? What's the terrible thing?
He's also the one that celebrates Pride Month, encourages Catholics to celebrate Pride Month during the Month of the Sacred Heart. He's also the one that is the biggest promoter of transgender as well. So in addition to all that, however, Pope Leo has been desperately trying, to prove his LGBT-friendly credentials since the start of his pontificate. Not only did he do the meeting with James Martin, he also met with other controversial figures. They allowed a big mass for all the homosexual LGBT promoters who call themselves Catholic in Rome during that pilgrimage. Moreover, that same week, he did one of those celebrity appointment things. He appointed a very well-known homosexualist to head the Pontifical Academy for Fine Arts. And this woman who did it, I mean, the art is so disgusting. One of her former exhibits, she showed a photograph of a nude man urinating on the head of another nude man, which is some homosexual play or whatever. Even in his appointments, you can see that Pope Leo is trying desperately to show his pro-LGBT credentials. The first American bishop he appointed was Michael Pham. And just a few weeks after his appointment, Michael Pham signed off on allowing an official LGBT Pride Mass from his auxiliary bishop. Not only that, Pope Leo then later made that auxiliary bishop that did the Pride Mass a full bishop in his own right. He has shown over and over again his pro-LGBT stance, which of course is opposed to that of the Catholic Church. The only ones who don't seem to want to believe this is the Pope-splainers trying to say that, no, Leo is Orthodox. No, he's not. This is the same. This is Francis #2, and we've just got to wake up and see reality for what it is. For LifeSite News and Sign of the Cross Media, I'm John Henry Weston.
So I don't think that his stance is one that minister that you pointed out believes it is. I mean, based on the information we just got there, he made one of the pro-LGBT bishops who does ceremonies for homosexual marriages within the Catholic Church. He made him a bishop. So it's interesting in the path that we're going in. I mean, this is just one more thing that helps us to understand who Mystery Babylon really is and who the great harlot is. And, I mean, I believe that anybody that knows what Romans chapter 1 is talking about, when it talks about giving up the natural use for a woman, to be with a man, they understand what that scripture's saying. And it says, in that scripture that they burn with lust for one another and that God gave them over to a reprobate mind. And we're watching that happen in real time right now. And people who thought that they were getting a different kind of pope with Pope Leo, it's just like this guy says from LifeSite, Vince, this is just more of the same. This is Pope Francis 2.0. And with everything else that's happening in prophecy, it lines up perfectly. And we're seeing that with this all-inclusivism. Doesn't matter what your life is like, you're going to make it if you just, open that umbrella up big enough to accept everybody in.
It's absolutely disgusting, totally unbiblical. And so I don't know how any Bible-believing minister, or forget the minister, if you believe in the Bible, I don't know how you can align with this stuff. It's unbelievable. In fact, I was just thinking yesterday, thinking about the Catholic Church, I mean, maybe it's a good time to remind you that you need to share this video, because I'm sure you have Catholic friends and family, and maybe they don't know. Like, maybe there's things happening they're unaware of, and I don't understand how that could be so, but maybe.
We'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Share this video and share the podcast link. However you can share, do it, and help get the word out. Now, I was just thinking yesterday, remembering back to the mid-'90s when Irvin Baxter was arrested. You remember the story?
I do.
Were you an end-timer then, or is that kind of...
I mean, I followed End Time, but I wasn't on board on staff or anything then. But I know about this story from way back, and then it's been retold to me several times.
Yeah, well, I was in elementary school at the time.
Yeah.
My teacher pulls me aside and says, your grandfather has been arrested.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like, I knew he wasn't in the States. He was in Papua New Guinea, and he wasn't arrested for a crime. He wasn't involved in some scandal, but what he was doing was preaching at a crusade, and there were thousands, tens of thousands maybe, I don't remember the exact number, but there was it was one of these crusades that you see, and there was thousands of people there in Papua New Guinea, and there were some folks that were offended by what he said.
Yes.
Now, these weren't just any people.
Right.
These were Catholic leaders,
very influential,
that were connected to the government.
Yeah.
And Irvin just felt led to share the true Christianity versus false Christianity message that day.
Yeah.
And they were there, and it made them so offended that they went to the government and had Irvin Baxter arrested for what he said. You don't have freedom of speech in Papua New Guinea like you do here in the United States. And so he got into some trouble and ended up spending some time in a Papua New Guinea jail.
Yeah.
And then had to leave the country. The U.S. Embassy got involved and got him out of jail. And they got him on a plane and got him out of the country as quickly as possible before anything worse could happen. So...
Yeah, I sometimes when I'm telling people this story, I kind of indulge a little bit and say that Sister Baxter broke him out of jail in the middle of the night.
That's fun. And just think about being her. Like, she's there with her husband in Papua New Guinea, and he goes into jail, and now she's on her own.
Yeah.
Like, I know there were people with her, but she's he's not with her now, and who knows what's going on in jail.
Right.
And I don't know. You can go through a lot, but Catholic leaders in the community didn't like what he had to say. And so somebody asked me, do you guys have that message? Because what happened was, everyone wanted to know what got the preacher thrown in jail.
Right.
And they happened to record that day. And so there was a local radio station that were making copies of the cassette nonstop for days, trying to fulfill everybody's request. And they were also airing that message on the national radio broadcast for weeks, because they want to know what got that preacher thrown in jail.
Yeah.
So guess what? A lot of people heard that true versus false Christianity message.
Yeah.
And someone said, do you guys still have that message? Well, no, we don't have that specific one, but we do have it.
Right.
And we tell people, do not watch that lesson. Do not watch that End Time original. It's on Only Source, Doug. You can go to watch.osn.tv right now and search true versus false Christianity, and you can pull it up.
But only if you want the truth.
We tell you, please, we love you so much. We want you to get the message, of course. But if you're going to get offended by what we tell you the Bible says, and you'll never listen to us again, don't go there and watch it. We love you so much. We want you to stick around. If you're going to get offended by it, don't go watch it. But if you're going to watch it, say, Lord, go pray first. Lord, open my eyes to see what you are saying, see what you're doing. Open my ears to hear what you're saying. Speak right to me, Lord, and you never know what could happen.
Right.
You might watch it and go, hey, that's exactly what I believe. Or you might watch it and go, there's no way. Like, this is as revelatory to some as the timing of the rapture. They hear us teach about that, and they go, I've never heard it that way.
Right.
This makes so much sense. And then they come around to that idea. Similar situation here. So it's on Only Source.
It'll definitely lead you to a crossroad, one way or the other.
Yeah. If you want to see the message that got Irvin thrown in jail, got him arrested, go search it on Only Source.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to keep creating content like that. We're going to keep telling you the truth the best that we possibly can. There's obviously things coming in the future that's going to require some pretty strong messages, and we are committed to telling you the truth to the best of our ability, no matter what. When there are current events going on and the Bible prophesied about it, we're going to do our best to tell you what it is, explain it clearly. And so we're committed to doing that. And we know some big things are coming. And for several years here at Endtime Ministries, we leased a portion of our building to another organization. As part of that arrangement, we were able to use some of their studio and broadcast equipment, and that helped us stay on the air every single day. That was a miracle in and of itself, but that arrangement has ended, and it ended somewhat suddenly, and with it, that equipment is now gone, and obviously we're still broadcasting. Our team did a wonderful job setting some things up, and the Lord certainly made a way, but right now we're operating on a temporary system that was not designed to carry the full load of doing daily television, radio, and streaming. It's holding for now, but it is fragile. It's fun to think about what folks would think if they were in this studio right now seeing what we see, but at the same time in Jerusalem, the Jerusalem Prophecy College is facing a similar challenge. The technology there, it's been pushed hard for nearly a decade, and much of it's reaching the end of its life. Between these two needs, we're looking at a pretty big need, but you know what I tell everybody? Our Lord doesn't lack for anything, and we're trusting in Him. So it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, both things collectively, but there is some things that have developed that are extraordinary. When we first shared this need, one partner stepped up and they said, we want to match every dollar given up to $65,000. Miraculous. But then last week, 2 more partners heard about the campaign and they said, we want to help too. So they added another $60,000 to the match. That means right now, every single dollar that you give, it's going to be matched dollar for dollar up to $125,000. So if you were thinking about giving $130,000, it's only going to be matched up to $125,000. So unfortunately for that, we would miss out on a few $1,000s there. But most people are giving $50, $80, $100, and of course that's doubled. This does not happen by accident. We see that it's provision, and it's certainly miraculous. So whatever you give today, it's instantly doubled. $50 becomes $100, $500 becomes $1,000, and every matched dollar helps stabilize our broadcast system here and re-equip the Jerusalem Prophecy College. This is one of those moments where you realize God is making a way when there seems to be no way. And if you believe in this message, you want to step into what God's doing right now, go to endtime.com/2x or call 800-363-8463. Again, that's endtime.com/2x or 800-363-8463. Be part of this miracle that's happening right now. And you could go to Justin, Texas this weekend and hear about some of the miraculous things happening in Israel firsthand from Dave and Jana Robbins. They'll be there for a conference, and you want to make plans to be there. All the details for the conference are at endtime.com/events or call 800-ENDTIME. We'll be happy to help you out. Doug, where do we go from here? We obviously have the story of the LGBTQ embracement and being embraced by the Catholic Church, and we showed that clip, and there were so many disgusting things there that are being shared, and of course it's totally unbiblical. So where do we go from there?
Well, Vincent, it all kind of comes together today. I mean, it's interesting because one of the things that we know is going to happen is there are going to be false prophets in the end time, and there's going to be false doctrines that are being sent forth. And one of the things that we're watching happen is something that is, it's one of the reasons why we do what we do here at Endtime, and we're watching the rise of anti-Semitism with all over the world right now. And so one of the things that we focus on is getting Jewish people out of these hostile areas, get them to make Aliyah back into Israel. And so it's kind of near and dear to our heart that we're helping Jews get back and make Aliyah into Israel, because I believe from the path that we're heading down right now, we are there. Things that Pastor Baxter talked about years ago, Vince, when he talked about anti-Semitism rising. He talked about another Jewish Holocaust. You even came out with your own program about Warn the Jews. And so it's a big issue that, we are working toward with this ministry to help people. So right now we're watching something that has happened in Europe that is a cause for alarm for Jewish people, but it's also a rise to an alarm here in our country too, because of things that are happening in our backyard. So we're going to talk about two things that are going to get me fired up, I guarantee you, especially on the second half of the program today, because we're going to look into this. But the anti-Semitism is being taught in ways that you wouldn't even expect, and Islamism is being projected as a peaceful religion. But we're going to see video today. I don't know if we'll have time to do that before a break, but we have a video that I want to show everybody from CBN, from Christian Broadcasting Network, where they're in Europe and they're showing you some of the things that are happening. But in that situation right now, Vince, what's happening is there is a rise of it in Great Britain, a place that you might not think about, but when you understand world government the way we do, and you see what Revelation 13 says, all this is coming to a head now. We're watching this happen. Great Britain is symbolized in our Bible as the lion that had the eagle's wings in Daniel 7, and Daniel watched the eagle's wings be plucked out of that lion. Well, that lion becomes the mouthpiece of the world government in the end time, in the final 3.5 years especially. Well, we're watching a rise of anti-Semitism there in Great Britain, the symbol of the lion, where we are seeing young people who are being taught in the school systems, in the universities. These are young people that are, you're going to see it in the video in a few minutes, where they're screaming out that Jewish people need to be buried, they need to die. And these people will grow up and be our next leaders in the world. But the people who are pushing these agendas, Vince, they found a way to get into our school systems, into our education systems, and begin to shape and mold the minds of young people and raise them up in a way where a lot of what's happening in Europe right now is looking a whole lot like post-World War II. And it's interesting, Vince, because what are we talking about a lot every day here? World War III. And so a lot of the same things with financial institutions, with allies, with all kinds of different things that happened pre-World War II are beginning to happen again. It's like history repeating itself, and we haven't learned anything from history. And so Great Britain is beginning to look a whole lot like Germany did right before World War II, and it's frightening to see that. But what's even more frightening is what we're going to uncover that's happening right here in our own backyard.
So, Doug, so far today, we've talked about just kind of some overarching themes that we haven't really said out loud. So, in one of Dave's most recent Endtime originals, the Green Horseman in World War III, he highlights the green spirit. But we also break down what the white spirit is,
right?
What the red spirit and black spirit are, what the four horsemen of the apocalypse are.
Yeah.
And so far today, we've talked about the white horseman.
Yep.
We're starting to hit on the green horseman.
Yeah.
And these, of course, the red and black are kind of mingled in here in different ways. And you can see these spirits at work in all these stories. If you just slow down and think about it, it's really amazing, actually, how much this is saturated in the stories that we're reading every single day. And, of course, you mentioned we're going to get to this video, which we don't have time to do before the break. But some of this stuff we were sharing with one of the Endtime team members. They saw our the title of the show and a little bit of the description of the show, and they said, "Oh, what do you mean by this?" And so we started telling them what had happened.
Yeah.
And they're like, didn't know about it yet, and we're going, this is why we're talking about it today, because parents need to know about this and act upon it, not just be innocent, or not innocent, but ignorant, I guess you could say, bystanders. They don't know anything about it, and they're not involved enough to see it at the school that their kids go to.
Yeah.
There's parents that just don't know. In fact, I talked to one of the parents from the school that we're going to highlight today, and they had no clue. Of course, this was a new story at the time. They had no clue that the Christian, quote-unquote, principal was wearing a hijab, celebrating World Hijab Day to promote.
Who even knew that there was such a thing?
Never heard of it. But there's a day for everything now. There's Donut Day. There's Burrito Day. There's a day for literally everything you can imagine.
Is there a day for white Christian nationalists?
Well, that's every day, Doug.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's
okay.
that's like well, I'm going to get in trouble if I keep
know,
talking. I'm already in trouble. It's about to get worse.
Right.
Because
Well,
I shouldn't go any further.
But you're exactly right. And one of the things that even correlate to what we're talking about here is the situation with New York right now, where they have a mayor who he's Muslim, he's Islamic, but he comes right out and says that he's a socialist Muslim. So he's, we're watching the red-green spirit come together, and that's not that odd either, since we know in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, it's communism and Islam that are leading the charge against Israel in that world government army. So a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to get fired up about.
Yep, so stay tuned. We've got some clips you have to see on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
One of the most frequently asked questions we receive at Endtime Ministries is, why do you guys teach the rapture happens after the Great Tribulation? Should we be passively waiting to be taken at any moment, or actively preparing for the greatest revival in history? Paul states plainly it will not occur until after the man of sin, the Antichrist, is revealed, and that will not happen until God declares it is time. I will walk you through a timeline of the final 7 years. The rapture, the marriage supper of the Lamb, and the second coming of Jesus Christ is one continuous event. It's not an event separated by 7 years.
Now streaming on OnlySource and available to order at endtime.com. Go to endtime.com/next or call 1-800-ENDTIME.
What if you could understand Bible prophecy? Dave Robbins, the host of the Endtime Show's TV and radio programs, is holding a free prophecy conference near you. Gain peace and understanding about what the Bible says concerning end-time prophecy. Call 1-800-ENDTIME or go to endtime.com/events to see when Dave will be in a location near you.
Welcome back to the Endtime Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got a lot to cover in the second half of the show, so we're going to jump right into it. Doug, you were talking about a clip before the break. It's a little bit lengthy, so we couldn't get to it right there at the end because we would run out of time and have to cut it off. So how do you want to set this clip up before we get into it?
Yeah, so back to what I was talking about, this is what Europe looks like right now and some of the things that are happening there. And this is CBN, Christian Broadcasting Network, that is reporting on this. I want you to pay special attention, folks, to what they're saying about the young people and how they are being hit with this teaching within the universities. So if we're ready, let's hit that clip.
Jewish businesses under siege by mobs. Jews attacked in the streets and forced to meet in secret or under tight security. This isn't Nazi Germany. It only reminds some people of Nazi Germany. It's Great Britain, once a safe haven for Jews, and not anymore. When it was announced a few weeks ago that the White House might offer asylum to British Jews, some thought it was a silly idea. The leader of Britain's campaign against anti-Semitism, Gideon Falter, does not.
There was a time when that would have seemed very far-fetched, but we are now living in a time when British Jews are extremely worried about their future.
Shop for kosher food in London and you might see these fake price tags activists are putting on products, saying your purchase helps support genocide. Walk down the street looking Jewish, and if you're not attacked like this man, you might have to walk past one of these billboards condemning the Zionist occupation. Or you might have a swastika painted on your house.
On the way to go to shul, we turned around to discover that some cowards visited our home on Friday night and decorated it.
The anti-Semitism here is horrifying. It reminds me of the early 1930s.
Been getting nightmares about terrorist attacks.
A trend that was already evident before October 7th has simply metastasized out of control. We have rampant Islamist and leftist extremism in the UK, and perhaps more worrying still, we have authorities which are failing to do anything about it, or if they are acting, it's only acting to appease the extremists.
Falter says the British government has not cracked down on dangerous terrorist groups that are operating in the United Kingdom.
The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran, the Muslim Brotherhood, the Houthis. I mean, this is the kind of craziness that Britain has subjected its citizens to.
The United Arab Emirates, itself a Muslim kingdom, believes British colleges are now so infiltrated by the Muslim Brotherhood that it will no longer pay for its students who attend universities here, fearing it could radicalize them. When Jewish college student Tali Smuss began her freshman year at King's College in London, she logged on to a group for her English major, and the discussion was about educating Zionists.
As the only Jewish person on my course, I asked them why they thought the Zionists need education. And they started like a whole tirade against me, like, is there a Zionist on this group chat? And then they decided to threaten me. They decided to say that if I dare to interrupt the lecture again, they should pick me up and band together and carry me out.
And when she took the matter to a college official,
she tells me, maybe you should try to understand why they're treating you this way.
Gaza, Gaza, make us proud! Put those lions in the ground!
British kids who are going to be our next leaders are being radicalized into a way of thinking that is so fundamentally un-British that it is just unrecognizable. And it is dangerous.
Yael Cohen Rothschild, a Sephardic Jew studying at Cardiff Metropolitan University in Wales, found blood smeared on her door and on an Israeli flag. In a second incident, someone wrote Judah, German for Jew, on her door.
We're telling me, hide your Magen David, take down your mezuzah, like nothing will happen if you don't make it obvious that you're Jewish. Like even now I'm coordinating with my university to have someone escort me on and off campus, because that's literally how unsafe I felt.
Yael is considering moving to Israel. We asked Jewish journalist David Collier, who receives regular death threats because he writes about anti-Semitism, if he would seek asylum in the U.S. if it was offered.
Where's my suitcase? I'll be honest. I mean, I would imagine that if it was serious, I would imagine there will be a lot of takers.
Very few British Jews now believe the situation here will improve. 2/3 have said they don't believe they have a future in Britain. And now their options are to either deal with the danger they face or leave.
It's becoming much harder to believe in a future where I and my family will be safe.
Neither of my children will be here in 10 years' time. I can tell you that straight off, and we'll be gone as well.
After the Manchester synagogue attack last year, Prime Minister Keir Starmer promised to do whatever it takes to crack down on anti-Semitism. However, polling shows very few British Jews think the government is doing enough, and most here fear it's only a matter of time before the next terror attack against Jews.
Thankfully, we live in an era where there is one place that any Jew in the world can go to, which is Israel.
Anti-Semitism is also rising in the U.S. However, Falter believes at least some British Jews would consider asylum in the United States if it was offered. Dale Hurd, CBN News, London.
So, Vince, hold on to that as we get ready to move into the next part of this. Hold on to what they're saying about even in America, it's on the rise. Well, why is it? Remember what they said, these groups are linked to the Muslim Brotherhood. So this is why parents should be upset about what we're getting ready to talk about, because the very groups that are infiltrating our education systems are tied to the Muslim Brotherhood. So this is something that this is a campaign to basically wipe out the Jews, to cause hate toward the Jews, to wipe out Christianity as well. Remember, that's one of the things that they are looking to do. It's one of the things Iran wants to do, is to destroy the little Satan, Israel, and then the big Satan, America. Well, why? Because we're a Christian nation, regardless of what Barack Hussein Obama said about it. I wish I could say it like Barack Hussein Obama, but he started that whole downfall of this country with that kind of rhetoric, with that kind of talk that we're not a Christian nation anymore, and that the Muslim call to prayer is one of the most beautiful things he's ever heard. All kinds of things being said by an American president that had never been said before, who I believe in his heart, he's Muslim. He's not a Jew or a Christian. He's Muslim. And so anyway, as we move down through this is something that Scripture tells us. This is very prophetic. All the things that we've talked about today are prophetic. I mean, everything that's happening is all part of the giant prophetic wheel that we've been watching roll for a long time. So anyway, I'm sorry. I told you I was going to get fired up. I'm fired up. So where you want to go from here, Vince?
Well, I have a question for the end timers.
All right.
So, well, first, we're going to get into this school that's right here a few miles from us. Actually, Doug, I used to live a mile away maybe from this school.
Right.
My previous home, I lived a mile away probably. So we're about to get into this. Now is the perfect time for you to share this video, because all of you, specifically in the Dallas area, you're going to want to know about this if you don't already know about it. So share right now. Of course, I think everyone needs to know about it. So share no matter where you're at, but it's especially if you're in the Dallas area, make sure you share, give us a thumbs up or a heart, and then let me know, what do you think's most likely that could be passed out in schools in America today? Qurans or Bibles? Just if you think it's Bibles, put that in the chat. If you think it's Qurans, put that.
All right.
What would you put, Doug?
Well, I know that they don't want Bibles passed out in schools, because I've been in schools that, I had to watch what I said, because I was there speaking to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and I would have to be careful speaking to a Christian group within the school of what I said, and I couldn't proselytize or share the gospel unless I was asked specific questions in schools right here in our own backyard. So I know that that's the fact. I also know at one point there were people handing out Gideon Bibles after school one day across the street from the school when I was driving a school bus, and the police went over there and told them they couldn't do that. They couldn't pass out the little Gideon New Testament Bibles to the students as they were going home. Yeah. So I've seen that with my own eyes.
So you don't think it's Bibles?
I don't think it's Bibles.
Most likely to be passed out in an American high school, Qurans or Bibles? Let us know what you think in the chat.
Yeah.
So that leads right into this next story, Doug. The highlight here is a tweet, a post on X from Amy Meck, and she says, "Parents, beware. This is how Islamization enters your schools."
Right.
Today at Wiley East High School, I think it was 2 days ago, an Islamic outreach group called Why Islam set up a major booth at the front of the school during the school day and began targeting students. They're handing out hijabs to girls across the campus. I heard one report that said they were giving out as many as they possibly could. I don't know what number that means. They were distributing free Qurans, passing out pamphlets about Sharia law, and they were giving students gift bags packed with Islamic propaganda. And the student who confronted them, his name's Marco. And he happens to be the president of the high school Republicans group. And he said that they were trying to provide hijabs to as many girls as possible. This was Dawah, Islamic proselytizing aimed directly at your children inside a taxpayer-funded school. So that was right here at Wiley East High School. Just a few cities away.
And we have a clip from Marco that we could see really quick in the middle of this. I've got it down lower on the notes here, but we could go ahead and throw that in there since it mentions him in that post. Let's see what Marco had to say at the school the day of.
Hello, tell me the story. What happened today at school?
Okay, so I'm Marco. I'm the president of the high school Republicans at Wiley East High School. And today there was an organization called Why Islam that had a huge table booth in the front of our our school today, and they were giving hijabs to Muslim girls out throughout the high school, and they were giving out Qurans, and they also had pamphlets about Sharia law and other Islamic things, and they were giving out these bags. And I had a discussion with the women that were there, and we're trying to understand what's going on.
Was everybody in a hijab?
So they were passing out to as much, girls as they could, so that was their goal.
How many students took those bags?
I don't have an exact number of how many people took them, but I can say that they were trying to get as much out as they could.
And it was during the school day, right?
Yes, it was during lunch.
During lunch.
And we typically have colleges come out, or we have our clubs have tables, but we've never had a faith group, to my understanding.
So Christians have never been allowed to come?
Not from what I've seen. I've never seen churches or Bibles passed out. I can't confirm that that's 100%, but what I can say is that this was a big thing that they wanted to push out today.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me know.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the thing that we were talking about that should get parents fired up. If you're driving around the local area right now listening on your radio station and you know someone that goes to a public school, you need to be asking questions. Are they doing this in your school? Because this was only because they got caught doing it. If nobody would have made a big deal about it, we wouldn't have even known it happened, Vince. But here they are passing out things about Sharia law. Should really fire people up. But the interesting thing is who this group is connected with. So that's what I want everybody to understand. This is who they are. So the whyislam.org is Islamic Circle of North America. Now you may think, okay, well, why is that a big deal? Well, it's not just some little rinky-dink setup. This is a large, huge organization, and we've seen an influx in Islamists coming to Texas, trying to start epic cities, trying to start these large residential areas, 400 and something acres, where only Muslims can live there, where they're going to have their own Sharia law. They'll have their own funeral homes. They'll have their own mosque. They'll have their own schools. They'll have their own daycares. They'll have their own rec centers, all those things, and you can only go there if you are Muslim. And so we're watching that happen, and we're watching them trying to take over these communities. But they're showing up at these schools not only to be friendly and let everybody think that Islam is a peaceful religion, but they are there to recruit the next generation of people, activists that are going to stand out there and say things like "from the river to the sea," and chant in pro-Hamas protest and things. When we've got Hamas that came into Israel on October 7th, 2023, and that massacre that happened that day, and you've got people here in this country in support of what they did to the Jewish people. And now we're even watching people like Tucker Carlson, like Candace Owen, that are getting on this boat. I think a lot of that has to do with money, and they're pushing this same agenda about Jew hatred. And so anyway, it's all tied to that, and that's very, very prophetic as well, because we're going to see, when that war happens in Revelation 12, Vince, it says that the dragon comes down having great wrath because he knows his time is short. And what's he do? He goes directly after the woman being Israel. So we know the world is going to turn against Israel, but the one hope we have is that she's taken care of by the wings of that great eagle, and we're praying that the United States always stays shoulder to shoulder with Israel and has her back.
Amen. Doug, I want to really sound the alarm on this. So you mentioned whyislam.org, how it's an outreach project ran by Islamic Circle of North America. This isn't just some random faith booth that was just at one of the schools here in the Dallas area. This whyislam.org, this outreach project, is in the Islamic pipeline tied to the same network that birthed the Muslim Brotherhood.
Right.
Okay,
There's
it's not
the
just
tie.
some kid had an idea to do something at a school.
That's right.
This is tied into that. This is the mother movement behind Hamas and global jihad.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the American affiliate. ICNA is the American affiliate of Jamaat-e-Islami, and Jamaat's militant wing owned the compound where Osama bin Laden was hiding when he was killed.
Yeah.
So it's not just some little thing, and their model is infiltration.
Yeah.
They want to normalize things in the public schools, and that's one of their primary battlegrounds. They've stated this in their internal strategic memos that the exact strategy is civilization jihad.
Right.
That's the exact strategy. So they're going to destroy the West from within. They're going to start in one of the ways they're going to start is in your high schools.
Yeah.
I shared a tweet with you during lunch. Somebody had said they talked to a pastor from the Dallas area, or they were from Plano actually.
Yeah.
And the pastor said he actually visited Israel many years ago, and he was talking to one of the if you go to Israel, you're going to find Christians, you're going to find Catholics, you're going to find Jews, you're going to find Muslims. It's a bunch of a variety of people. Right. He was talking to one of the shop owners that was a Muslim, and he said, "I'm from Plano, Texas." And the shop owner in Israel said, "Oh, he's a Muslim." He says, "I know Plano, Texas. That's one of the cities where we're sending people." And like this random shop owner in Israel happens to know Plano, Texas, because he's heard it being targeted as one of the places where we're going to go and infiltrate. So this isn't just not just happenstance.
Right. And I mean, look what's happened in New York, where you've got a Muslim communist who is the mayor of New York now. Mm-hmm. That's what they do. They get into the community, they make friends with the mayor, they make friends with the city council, and then the next thing you know, they're running for city council, and then the next thing you know, they take it over, and then the next thing you know, they're running for a large office, and they're changing laws in our country. It's amazing, too, Vince, that's one of the things that the Antichrist does in Daniel. It says he thinks to change the laws and times. And that's what we're seeing a lot of this with what's happening with this takeover of America. They want to change our laws, and they want to change the way things are done here and set up Sharia law within our country.
So Amy, in her post on X, she said, ask yourself this. Why are public schools allowing Islamic proselytizers to operate on campus when Christian groups would never be allowed to pass out Bibles during lunch? Who approved this, Booth? Who gave them access to minors? Why? And as I understand, there's obviously been more details come out we'll get to, but some adults were allowed inside of the school, Doug. Yeah. So there were some kids involved that are part of the group that's an approved group by the school. Mm-hmm. They have Christian groups, they have Muslim groups, they have all sorts of groups. There's a group there that's approved by the school, but the group open the doors for adults to come in and help with this effort. And so who gave them access to the minors? Why is Sharia propaganda being distributed in American high school? This is how it starts, not with force, but with free gifts, with education, with tolerance. And then one day parents look up and realize the institution was captured right in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and the crazy thing about it is we've got a Instagram photograph here from Raider Nation. If you're in this area, you can look her up. Raider Nation Principal.
No, you can't.
Oh, did she shut down her?
Her account is now private. You cannot go there and browse around.
Okay, well, you could a couple days ago, but you cannot now. So let's show her picture. This is the principal in the whatever color. Is that red or pink?
Sure. It looks like pink to me, but
yeah. So that's the principal herself, and she's posting for a picture.
This was last year in
on National
February.
Hijab Day.
Today, February 5th is World Hijab Day.
Well, how about that?
So last year she posted with this.
Yeah, and like Vince said, now you can't go to her page. I did the other day when I was setting all this up, but she had an Instagram page. She posted that, and I don't know if she is the one that got in trouble or not, if she's the one that's been suspended. But there is news out there. Vince sent me a breaking news on this today that a staffer at East Wiley has been placed on leave after this because this was an unapproved event, so the superintendent says. Now, I'm not saying that the superintendent's not telling the truth, but sometimes it's they want to save themselves and they'll sacrifice somebody to save themselves. I don't know if that's the situation here. I'm just saying that happens sometimes, but it's being reported in the news that someone from the school is being put on leave for this. So there are some things happening.
Let's highlight the caption that the principal wrote. She said, our MSA created an opportunity for everyone to experience the beauty of wearing a hijab. I loved, in all caps, this experience. That's what she said a year ago.
Now, think about a year ago also what was going on in Iran when there was a young lady in Iran that refused to wear a hijab, however you say it. She refused to wear hers, and what happened? She got arrested, and then while in custody, she was killed. And so there was protest then. Remember, was that last year or a year before? Things are happening so fast, it's hard to remember. But, of course, now there's upheaval there, too. The people are protesting against the regime there, the Iranian regime. But they killed this woman because of that. So think about that, because right now it's being introduced as, oh, look how fun this is. Look how cool it is. Look, you can see what it's like to experience what Islamic women experience. But when it comes down to it, if Sharia law was ever instated here in this country, every woman would be required to wear a hijab, and if you didn't have it on, you could face a penalty of death or being beat in public, things like that. That's what they do, okay? So they're not telling these kids all of that. They're not telling kids that, maybe also indoctrinated in the LGBTQ, what they do to homosexuals in those countries either. They're not experiencing all that. They're just telling them how cool this is, and that you get a free Quran, and here's what Sharia law says, and all these things. And so they're making it cool and free, and everybody needs to check it out. And it's like the frog that's being put in cold water, and the temperature's being turned up, and that frog doesn't know he's being boiled alive until it's too late. And yes, I said boiled. So boiled alive. And so anyway, it's that type of scenario, like she is stating. And we've asked this lady that's the founder of RARE, right? Do you remember what RARE stands for? RAIR?
I don't remember.
I don't either, but she's the founder of that.
RareFoundation.com is where she posts all her.
If anybody knows her and could get her on the show, we'd love to talk to her on the show sometime. We've reached out to her a couple of times trying to get her to come on, because she's also the one that exposed the video of the Epic City Muslim leader that was saying that the mayor told him not to worry about anything, that the mayor's office had his back here in Plano, and we reported on that. And so there was an outcry about that. We got a phone call from the Plano City Council wanting to know where we got the footage and if we could send that to them. And so we don't know whatever happened with that, but we know that shortly after that, our governor put the brakes on the Epic City situation. I don't know if it had anything to do with anything we did, but I'm just saying, this is a chance for you to make your voices heard. If you're in this area, especially if you have a child that goes to Wiley East, or if you know somebody who has a child that goes to Wiley East, as Christians, this is our opportunity to let our voices be heard and to let people know that we are not going to stand by and let this kind of thing happen in indoctrination of our children in this country.
Yep, it stands for Rise, Align, Ignite, and Reclaim. So the idea is that they want to have their network of individuals, and they're trying to lead a movement to reclaim our republic. So that's the idea behind what they do, and they happen to, as a result, emphasize a lot going on with Islam. And so, of course,
understandably so.
This was highlighted 2 days ago, and then later that night, she posted again, hey, Frisco, Texas. So Wiley's just over here to the northeast of Dallas. Frisco is north of Dallas, just a few cities over from Wiley. And then a few hours after this occurred, she says that you need to know this, and she tags Mayor Jeff Cheney and shares how she launched a full investigation and shared it last year on the Islamic Center of Frisco, another similar name, and how they have public statements and governing documents that say ICF, Islamic Center Frisco leadership, publicly describing their involvement in political campaigns and issues-based campaigning while operating a tax-exempt 501c3. At that time, that wasn't allowed, but they're talking about boasting about placing Muslims into Frisco government. And then, of course, that night, and there's more there. You can go look it up for yourself from RARE, RareFoundation.com. But that night, City of Frisco publicly posted Ustada Sophia Khan of the Islamic Center of Frisco provided the invocation at tonight's city council meeting.
Wow.
So they had a Muslim from the Islamic city of Frisco provide the invocation. I wish we would have got the clip on this, but when you go watch it, she does her prayer, and the crowd knew apparently this was happening. There was a bunch of Christians in the crowd, and after she prayed, they said something about "in Jesus' name" or something like that to emphasize. But the city of Frisco, just a few cities over, are trying to normalize similar things. So this is happening all around us here in Dallas, and of course all around the United States.
And see, Vince, really that's all part of the one world religion that is going to be established in the end time. And people like us that are speaking out against these things, we will become hate mongers. We'll probably become outlaws for telling the truth about things. I mean, look at the way other countries that have had Islam come in and take over have silenced people from speaking out against anything Islam is doing within those countries. And we won't be far behind if we let this happen. If America falls, the world falls. That's the way we're going right now. And we've got to do something to stop and let our voices be heard, that we're not going to let our kids be inundated with this. We're not going to let them infiltrate our schools and our education facilities.
Doug, and we didn't even get to talk about the undercover video that the student took in the Plano school where she's recording the Islamic call to prayer in the classroom. But it's another conversation for another day. We need to pray. We need to align with God's word and get involved in our God-given purpose. Of course, we're going to tell you to start at endtime.com/reborn. Make sure you've been born again the Bible way and go from there. You can access thousands of hours of content for free at endtime.com and watch.osn.tv. That's made available because of partners like you that give every single month. And of course, right now, all donations are being doubled at endtime.com/2x, or call 800-END-TIME and say you want to be part of the match campaign. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. God bless you.